Hello everyone, I'm Extra Cheesy 87 and this is Let's Play Danganronpa V3 Part 44. In the previous video, we made it towards the latter half of the Chapter 5 Clash trial. It seemed like we had figured out what had happened, but now there's a little extra wrench been thrown into the proceedings on whether or not Kaito was killed via Maki's poison arrow or Kokichi crushing him. And apparently even Monokuma may not know. Wait, this case?
Yes, that's it! So that's what Kokichi's real objective was.
Huh? What are you talking about?
Kokichi wasn't just trying to commit a murder that we couldn't figure out. He was trying to commit a murder that Monokuma couldn't figure out either.
A murder Monokuma couldn't figure out?
What's the point of that? Kokichi's the one who's controlling Monokuma.
Incorrect.
But consider how many elements of this case would be cleared up.
If he was the mastermind, he wouldn't have to constantly repeat that he's the mastermind all the time.
Prior to this case, Monokuma always knew the specific details of each crime, correct? That must mean that he was using some way of monitoring us.
Perhaps there are hidden cameras, strategically placed to avoid our detection.
I can't say for certain, but he must be keeping watch somehow. Kokichi probably used the electrobomb to scramble whatever that was. The electrobomb would prevent any cameras from sending video wirelessly.
Which means it wouldn't matter where the surveillance cameras were hidden.
Like I said, what's the point? Kokichi's the one who's controlling Monokuma.
I mean, I like that explanation more. It's still a little, like, I don't know.
Before we determine that for sure, I want to make one thing clear. If the objective were to create a crime that would stump Monokuma, the exosols... Yes, the exosols weren't protecting Monokuma. They were.
Yeah. Watching him.
That's it! They were watching Monokuma.
Yeah, we kind of knew that from the beginning, just because, I mean, the way they're patrolling.
Yes. Remember what Monokuma said earlier in the investigation?
Oh, at the time, the exosols are on autopilot and directed to only observe me.
If they were protecting him like bodyguards, they wouldn't have been facing him. They would have been scanning the area, watching us. But they weren't. That implies that they weren't watching us. They were watching him. They were trying to make sure that Monokuma wouldn't go near the crime scene.
That reminds me. Before I stole an exosol, all 4 units were focused on Monokuma. That's why when I stole one to enter the hangar, the other 3 didn't pursue me.
So Monokuma must have been talking about Maki.
Even if it's someone at a disadvantage, the class trial must always be fair. The person who shared that info with me didn't seem interested in sharing it with you guys. You share it instead, that way it'll be fair to all the participants.
She didn't want to share that information because it would have linked her to the murder. In which case, it could only be Maki.
You're right.
So to summarize this discussion, Kokichi used the electro bomb in the hangar and the exosols to watch Monokuma, thereby creating a scenario in which Monokuma has no idea who the culprit is?
I told you there's no point.
Oh my god, shut up.
Kokichi's the one who's controlling Monokuma!
No, Kokichi might not be controlling Monokuma at all.
What?
But Kokichi's the mastermind, right? Shouldn't he be controlling Monokuma?
Kokichi might not be the mastermind.
What?
Remember that the only reason we think that is because Kokichi told us.
And for some reason, you guys still listen to him.
Monokuma hasn't said a word about that. It's possible that Kokichi is just lying to us.
No way I lied! I'm definitely controlling Monokuma. The mastermind of the killing game is totally me. The one who pitted humanity's last survivors against each other is... all me, baby.
I'm sure he would like that to be the truth, but...
Right. a remnant of despair. How do we forget that?
But that doesn't necessarily mean that he's the mastermind.
Well, I guess. But is that really possible?
Shut up, Samugi.
Well, Monokuma,
I can't answer that without causing problems, because I gotta run this trial fair and square.
Even more reason to give us the answer. If you don't tell us the truth right now, you'll be an accomplice to Kokichi's lies.
Yeah, get him, Shuichi.
Does that sound like a fair game? Would you say this class trial is fair?
Yeah, tell us! Is Kokichi the real mastermind or not?
This would be a really good time for you guys to say fuck it and just vote for Shuichi.
No need to think about it. You're being way too forward, you know?
I mean, I do like they're at least like calling out the fact that they're like, you know, Monokuma's obviously kind of playing favorites here.
Aren't you normally the forward one?
Because in a lot of ways, I feel like this is like some aspects of this are just like a better executed version of Chapter 1 of the first, or Chapter 5 of the first game.
I mean, I don't mind, because that's probably part of your strategy, too. But in the interest of fairness, I suppose it's time to tell the truth. Unlike the lies you love so much, the truth should be impartial to everyone.
and what is that truth?
I'm not being controlled by Kokichi, because he's not the mastermind.
Gasp. No one could have ever seen this coming.
Is that really true?
Kokichi was just messing with you. I never once said he was the mastermind.
Then it was all Kokichi's lie?
Yeah, that is what that would mean. With the key from the last motive, he was the first to learn the truth of the outside world. Based on his deductions, he fabricated a lie to make you all think he was the mastermind.
I see. Kokichi's own deductions.
You want to know? Then I'll tell you. I'm getting kind of bored with all the lines, so everything I say from now on will be the truth, Kay?
His deductions got a lot of details right, though. Pretty impressive, honestly.
But what about the Exosols? If Kokichi wasn't the mastermind, how'd he control them so easily?
He just used Mew's remote control, right?
Oh. Mew's remote control.
So the remote that Kokichi was using was made by Mew?
Oh, you didn't know? Mew not only invented the electro bomb and the electro hammer, she also made a remote control that can hijack any electronic device.
And she didn't. God, Mew fucking sucks.
Kokichi just slapped a receiver on each of the Exosols and took them for a spin.
Hey, isn't it a bit unfair to tell them all that?
Fairness has nothing to do with it. I offered up that info purely out of spite. Spite towards you for trying to usurp the mastermind's role and take over the game.
Well, whatever. It's way more interesting to defeat an enemy who plays dirty anyway.
Kind of, maybe.
What's going on? It seems like they're actually fighting.
There's no doubt about it. Kokichi isn't the mastermind.
Were we just being dragged around by Kokichi's lies the whole time?
What were you trying to accomplish by pretending to be the mastermind, Kokichi?
I don't know, it'd be fun, dude. For the lulz with a Z?
Yeah! Now you're gonna be all quiet? This is so frustrating!
Then if he's not the mastermind, who is?
Why are you so certain there's even a mastermind to begin with?
That is true.
What do you mean?
I mean, like, the idea of one of the masterminds being us is just something Shuichi said, like, off the wall at the start.
Why, that's on a need-to-know basis.
Right, like, isn't that...
And you don't need to know.
Like, I don't think that was ever really established. It was just that Shuichi said it. That's why he blamed himself so much for Kaede's death, because he's the one who came up with that idea.
But I wanna know!
The real mastermind is not Kokichi. Who could it be? I was thinking it was Junko Enoshima, but it can't be that. She's dead. We've never come into contact with her. she may not even be real. If so, who's done this? Who planned this killing game?
Anyway, this conversation has flown off the rails. Let's get things back on track. This class trial is to figure out who the culprit is, not the mastermind.
Yeah?
So, yeah, get to talking.
I agree. Before we worry about who the mastermind is or what my intent is, let's figure out the culprit!
But Monokuma doesn't know who it is. How is he supposed to confirm the results?
We don't need to worry about that. Let's just leave the decision-making to Monokuma. But you gotta run the class trial too, so no mistakes, okay?
Are you trying to get me to do something?
You've been watching us solve all these cases, but you can't be a spectator anymore.
I mean, I assume if we vote for Kokichi, he would just execute him out of spite, right?
You're gonna participate in the class trial from here on out.
Does that mean he votes? Yo, if he votes, we could split decision.
So, let's resume this
Or we could
class
just vote for
trial.
Kokichi.
Monokuma, you got.
Because I mean, if it's Monokuma's, like, if he makes the decision at the end of the day whether we're right or not. I mean, I guess maybe Kokichi, but I mean, we can't trust if Kokichi, like, if we vote for him and he's like, actually, I didn't do it. Why would we, like, I honestly just kill Kokichi.
This will be the final class trial. Me versus Monokuma.
You versus Monokuma?
When I play a game, I intend to win. But what's considered winning in this game? Beating the other players? No. Beating the game's mastermind is the true victory.
I mean, he's right. Yeah, that's the conclusion that Byakuya came to in the first game, right?
And that's how I'll win. That's why I decided to challenge Monokuma. If I can deceive Monokuma till the very end, then I'll be the winner.
You're dragging us around like this? Just so you can win a game?
So the question is, like, does he have any proof? Like, any definitive proof that, like, he could actually show to us? Because, like, if we vote for Kokichi, right? What's to stop him from just being like, nah, wrong?
As I suspected, your thought
Like, even
process
if it is
defies
correct.
all logic.
But since the outside world is in total ruin, this game is the only entertainment we have. At least I can enjoy this game to the fullest and feel good winning.
You really are a remnant of despair. Your way of thinking is just chaotic.
Remnant of despair? Whatevs. Let's just get this started. If the students or Monokuma don't know who the culprit is, then I'm the winner.
Don't underestimate me, or Shuichi and the others for that matter.
Wow, that's the most heartwarming thing I've ever heard in this entire series. What?
It's just like a remnant of despair to try to assume control of the game.
I'm still a little, this whole remnant of despair thing, right? Like, it just seems like so convenient, that whole plot line. I don't know if I buy it still.
But these kids are all that's left of Hope's Peak Academy. If you think they're gonna make this easy for you, you better think again.
Because, like, I think this could just be, like, trying to reinforce the idea that maybe that stuff was real for us.
Whose side are you taking here?
Side? Isn't it obvious? Monokuma joins your party.
Okay, that's great.
Who invited you?
Now, let's join forces and unravel the truth behind this case.
That's actually really good.
Well, we were going to do it anyway.
Let's just ignore Monokuma. His actions are always beyond comprehension.
Yeah! Let's just focus on the case.
Hey, be quiet so we can ignore you.
Yeah, I wish you would also follow that advice.
Now, where should we start? We've already established what Kokichi is after.
He's just gonna keep talking anyway, isn't he?
In my experience, whenever you learn a new fact, you learn something else along with it.
Yes, let's look for that.
You warmed up to him real fast. I guess you are both robots.
That's robophobic. Like, actually? So another truth comes out, the piece of evidence that makes more sense now. The murder video, maybe? So there's two things. The only things I don't really get: murder video and whether or not the poison, like, I'm gonna say murder video.
This is it!
But it seems odd to show that,
Let's
right?
discuss the video of Kaito being crushed by the hydraulic press. Kokichi said that he filmed that video to prove he was not the victim. But we know that Kokichi was trying to mislead Monokuma. So what about the video? It's pretty strange to present evidence that condemns you after all.
Then what kind of mistake was Kokichi trying to get me to make?
Maybe he crushed Kaito with a hydraulic press, so the cause of death would be unknown?
But if that were the only objective, there would be no need to film it. Discovering the crushed body would have been enough. No need to show us the film.
That's true.
I guess you're starting to fit in after all. If you get any cuter, I'm gonna hug you.
Huh? Really?
There must be a
Kaito
reason
had to
why
die so that
they wouldn't
Himiko could
show
live.
the body being crushed.
No reason, really. That's just my twisted personality.
You're lying again, Kokichi. There's a method to your madness. We wouldn't know. We do have your underwear, after all. If you wanted Monokuma to make a mistake, then showing us the video, it must have something to do with trying to fool Monokuma. I mean, it's to, I would assume, make him think that he was killed by the press, not the poison. Or that he was already dead from the poison before the press killed him. Taking the video of the murder, but keeping the victim's identity hidden. What does it show? What doesn't it show? Poison. Nope. Venom. The victim. Victim? I don't know why this is the answer, but... Where's the M? That, I think that's an M? Yeah.
I see now.
Bro, it's so much easier when you get the first letter.
The victim.
Huh?
Is it even possible? That's a question for later. For now, we know that...
If you show the moment of Kaito's death, of course it would lead us to believe he died. Even if we can't positively identify the body, we would still believe Kaito was the victim. And that might be exactly the mistake Kokichi was going for.
Does that mean the victims were switched?
Well, I get, would that mean that... I mean, because like, I'm still not entirely convinced the Exosols like even has anybody in it.
Switched?
Then it was some other dead body that got crushed by the hydraulic press?
What?
Where would he even get another body?
There should be plenty to choose from if you reuse the body of a former victim.
Can you do that?
If there wasn't any.
Well, I mean, you kind of... Well,
Then we could guess the victim was switched.
I don't know. I mean, that was kind of established as something you could do in the first game, but there's not really been any mention of like a morgue or anything.
But too bad. Switching the victims was impossible.
Yeah, that seems a little...
The footage showed the body being crushed. When in the footage would they have been able to switch the victim? And we already established that the footage was not doctored in any way. The camera doesn't have any editing functions. Just play, record, and pause. Monokuma also said that no computer was used to edit the footage, remember?
I mean, you could have just like paused it right as... You know, because like there's like a split second where like the body is obscured, right? Before it crushes down.
Damn it! Me and my big mouth!
Which means switching out the victim would not be possible. Also, if the victim was switched, then that would mean Kaito is still alive. We already discussed this so many times. The chance of that happening is
It might be possible.
Huh?
There could be a trick to make the switch possible. We just haven't noticed it yet.
And that is a good way of answering the idea of like why he wouldn't have to show up to the trial if like Monokuma actually doesn't know he's still alive.
Oh, and what trick is that?
Which is actually really neat.
See? You don't know, do you? I already said it's impossible.
Maki's not wrong. There is a way it could be done. So we can't just give up here.
No, I'm not gonna like say what that way is.
Hey, Shuichi. I'll think harder about this as well. So, can you confirm whether or not the victims switch places? If Kaito is alive or not?
Maki.
I don't like the thought that I killed Kaito. I don't want that.
Okay then, let's talk about the possibility that Makiro mentioned.
Himiko, if you call her that again...
Yes, please.
Oh, okay.
It's just you, Samugi. You're the only one who can't say it.
Then let's all talk it over together.
Together. And don't forget, you're not alone. Don't try and do everything yourself. It's only gonna wear you out. When times are hard, you gotta rely on your friends.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll figure something out.
Jeez, you guys are a stubborn bunch. There's no trick.
That's probably another lie.
However, if the victims were switched, then that would mean the footage was altered. How could it have been altered when we know that the footage wasn't edited?
If we could figure that out, maybe we'd know how they switched places.
I knew there was a trick to that video the whole time. Kokichi made it, so it's 100% suspicious.
Finally, they realize. It only took 50 hours. A trick to that video. Yeah, I mean, there's like a split second where he's, obscured. I mean, it'd be really hard to line things up perfectly, though. Safety function, Kaito's coat.
There must be some trick to that video.
Safety function. Kaito's coat. Because then it, like, kind of stops for, like, a second. Is that maybe supposed to be the safety function?
That's what you all gotta figure out.
I can't remember how it worked when we saw it on Kibo.
You can check, but
Electro bomb.
there's no
Hangars, front shutter. Murder video.
editing function in
Did
that
the
camera.
placement of that camera seem suspicious to any of you? The filming angle seemed unnatural, don't you think?
Filming angle.
The person in that video. Was it really Kaito?
Something seemed off about that video to me.
But mention it.
When the hydraulic press stopped for me.
Yes! No! You think so too, right, Shuichi? Wouldn't stop but it did stop for Kaito. Yeah.
Oh no!
How is that not an agree?
There must be some...
Why doesn't that work? It stopped because he was still alive. During that stop is when the video was paused, the real body switched in at the same exact point. That logic makes perfect
trick
sense.
to that video.
Unless they just want murder video for that? That doesn't, okay, it doesn't make sense without the, or maybe it's something different, I don't know. I mean, that makes sense to me. But let's see what the other options are.
Function in that camera.
Did the placement of that camera seem suspicious to any of you? The filming angle seemed unnatural, don't you think?
The person in that video. Was it really Kaito?
Something seemed off about that video to me. When the hydraulic press stopped for a brief moment.
Could it be that the video was shot at another location?
No.
Any other bright ideas? Come on, everybody, speak up!
How is it not safety function? I mean, maybe they won't murder video for that, which makes no sense, but
That's what you all gotta figure out.
that's the only thing that's really odd about the
There is
video.
no trick. A camera.
I mean, maybe the placement, the idea that he's like obscured for a second, but I don't know what corresponds to this.
Unnatural, don't you think?
I mean, I'll try murder video on that next.
Kite.
Something seemed off about that video to me. When the hydraulic press stopped for a brief moment.
Really?
I was wrong.
That's insane to me.
There must be some trick to that video.
That's what you all gotta figure out.
I mean, I guess. Buttons label also features a function.
There's no trick.
I mean, maybe
Check, but there's no editing function in that camera.
maybe it's hydraulic press. I mean, I feel like Kibo is the closest to being right,
Filming angle seemed unnatural, don't you
because
think?
the stop is like
What's
super
in that video?
suspicious.
Was it?
Maybe it's that like they made it go up at the last second and paused the video there. Bro, it being the safety function kicking in makes way more sense.
Kibo is onto something. Isn't it weird that the hydraulic press stopped for a second? Because when Kibo and I first investigated that hydraulic press,
Yes, that's right. The hydraulic press kept lowering itself without stopping.
but in the video,
Yeah, like slams down.
The hydraulic press stopped briefly, right before it crushed the body?
But why would it stop?
I mean, I would think it's a safety function, but apparently that's not it, unless that prompt is just like bad. Because I mean, it does say that there's an up and down function, but but I mean, so I mean, it could be that they just pressed up at the last second, but what am I? Okay, maybe it's over here. This thing. Is safety function an option? Like maybe is it over in this corner? It looks like there's only two things. So let's just go with this. Yeah, we're gonna have to... I don't know what that's supposed to be. Oh, we still need to...
I see it. The only way to stop the hydraulic press is the force stop button.
An electro bomb went off in the hangar, which would have interfered with the safety function.
Yeah, I'd kind of completely forgotten about that, dude.
There'd be no way to stop the hydraulic press unless someone used the force stop button.
Okay. That makes sense.
When you say someone, you mean Kokichi, right? He was the only one there.
I'd completely forgotten about that plot point.
Actually, maybe I pressed it by accident. I don't really remember. So what of it? The press only stopped for like a sec. You can't switch the victim in such a short time, can you?
Well,
That's true.
could pause the video.
There's also the question of how the bodies got switched while the camera was rolling. That would have clearly been caught on camera.
While the camera was rolling.
Oh, I see. It wasn't just the press that stopped.
Huh? Huh? What do you mean?
If you stop something else at the same time you stop the hydraulic press,
That's how the bodies were switched. I mean, I had the right idea, I just kind of forgot about the... Oh, come on, man. I had the right idea, I just kind of forgot about the safety function thing. That's a bonker. Any cameras around here? Okay, there we go. Camera. I may or may not. I mean, it's not that I don't... Like, I mean, I kind of get how it works, but honestly, it's like almost faster to just kind of hit randomly. Since the time limit's generous enough. And you don't lose HP for getting it wrong.
the culprit stopped the video camera at the same time as the hydraulic press. Then, while the camera was off, they switched the body under the hydraulic press. After the body was swapped, the press and the camera were started simultaneously. So it just looks like the press stopped for a moment.
That's what I've been saying this whole time!
When did you ever say that?
So they stopped at the same time. The camera position did seem odd to me. But now I get it. The trick wouldn't work unless it was set up there.
Huh? Why?
To get the trick we just described to work, the camera had to be set up precisely.
Where was the camera set up? I mean, it had to be near the thing so that you could stop it and the press at the same time.
There! The video camera must have been set up somewhere around here. To operate the press and the camera at the same time, it would have to be near the switch.
That's why the video was taken from that unnatural angle. If they were recording it like normal, they would have used a better angle.
And if it was recorded at such an odd angle, then that proves the trick was used.
Camera angles, huh? Looks like your cosplayer experience is finally useful.
Well, cosplay doesn't really come up all that much in class trials.
There was a reason the camera was set up there, but also a reason for the height.
So that it would be obscured.
When the press was stopped, you couldn't really see who was inside it, correct?
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, you can technically still see the blood on his sleeve, his regular sleeve, not the coat sleeve.
That was intentional. The body is mostly hidden by the press, making the swap easier.
Now we'll just chalk that up to like an art error, but
The camera must have been placed at such a high position so it would produce that angle.
I wonder if they used that tripod in the hangar to adjust the camera's height.
Did they get that from the warehouse too? Jeez, that place is like a 4D pocket.
You don't get to make that reference.
Then, that logic is correct, right? Kokichi used that video angle trick and switched the victim in the hydraulic press. In that case, Kaito is...
Before he was crushed by the press, he was swapped with a different body.
yeah, but like how?
So Kaito's still alive.
Well, wait just a minute.
What? But I just summed it up so nicely.
I mean, it seems still a little far-fetched.
Himiko, the different body you mentioned, what are you talking about?
The bodies from the other cases. Kokichi's the mastermind, so he...
Yeah.
Wait, the mastermind?
Yeah, Kokichi isn't the mastermind, so I don't think he'd be able to produce a body to switch out.
What?
I mean, is it just that, like, the whole idea of that was just like a lie? That it... Because, I mean, that would make more sense than him being able to perfectly position the body in the exact same way that it is on the camera. Because, I mean, if it was even, like, off by, like, a smidge, you would be able to tell.
Well, Monokuma, do the rules allow for a body to be reused?
Very well. I'll answer that.
You're giving in pretty easily.
Well, it's crucial information to make the trial fair.
I mean, it could have been that the whole thing was just to give you hope.
This discussion is pointless if it's not clear what the culprit was allowed to do, right?
Which would actually be kind of cool.
You're a convenient mastermind, but I guess that makes defeating you worth my time.
Now then, regarding the reuse of a dead body. That is impossible! All the dead bodies have already been thrown away.
Thrown away?
The other bodies are gone? Then who did Kaito switch places with?
Kokichi and Kaito were the only ones in the hangar at that time. They were the only ones present during the body swapping trick. Then the real victim was... Well, I mean, it couldn't have been... There couldn't have been a switch. Because someone would have to, you know... The other person in the hangar? Unless it's... Okay, so it could be that Kaito? Like, Kaito... Well, no, because if you were laying on there, you wouldn't have been able to activate the forced stop. So I guess maybe... So was Maki involved in it after all? Because...
What's wrong, Shuichi? Who did Kaito switch places with?
Maki, I think I missed something very important here.
Something important?
Because, like, let's say, okay, so if we assume Kaito's actually alive on that slab, right? If only he and Kokichi are in the room and no body can be reused, Kaito wouldn't... Like, that would mean one of them had to have been dead. Already. Maybe. I mean, I guess theoretically one of them could agree to let them be smashed. It would mean that Kokichi would have had to have been up there while filming the video, pause it, and then sacrifice himself on the press, which seems very unlikely. I have the timeline right. There were only 2 people in the hangar at the time. I mean, the most logical, the thing that makes the most sense to me is that, like, the pausing, there was no actual switch. The pause is just there to, like, fuck with you. That, or it's somehow Maki was able to get into the hangar after all. And then helped make it seem like Kaito died. And they actually killed Kokichi. Which means that something had to have been decided before. I have to pin that down. Can't let anything escape me this time. Oh, God. Victim. Oh, God, I didn't realize you could make that go fast. Victim... What am I? Victim switch? No, that doesn't, I mean, that doesn't make any sense, but... CPE... Victim culprit? No? Victim... I'm just kind of like trying common starting things that might start a sentence. Victim L? Victim E. Victim perished. I've tried every one. None of the letters match. God, why is Hangman so bad? U? That's an E. I thought that was a U. Like, I mean, I've tried every letter and none of them fit. Did I try P? I tried L. H was not there earlier. We never saw an H that entire time. God, Hangman's Gambit is so bad. Victim... Hurry? Harry? Hi. Victim? Nothing's coming to mind. E? I mean, there's a lot of E's. Victim? Helped? Victim helped. Okay, that actually makes sense. Well, I mean, it makes sense as like that being something that fits. The victim helping makes no sense.
I can't believe I overlooked this.
I'm trying to say, Kaito did say something about how he was going to make sure Maki was spotless. But why would Kokichi agree to... Well, I guess if he agreed to become the killer to trick Monokuma, because he doesn't really care whether or not we... So I guess Kaito agreed to help Kokichi kill him, or like ask Kokichi to kill him so that Maki wouldn't be...
What do you mean?
But Kokichi seemed like he seemed to like the idea of Maki being the Blackened, so I don't know.
There were only 2 people in the hangar at the time the bodies were swapped. Which means they were working together.
Huh? Working together?
The only 2 people involved in the swap were the victim and the culprit. The culprit was operating the camera and the hydraulic press, while the victim lay inside. If they switched places while the press and the camera were stopped,
But why would Kokichi do that?
then the person who turned the camera and the press back on was the original victim.
But then they would both be dead then.
To put it simply, both people operated the press and camera at different times.
Because if Kaito was in there originally and swapped out, he should have died to the poison.
An impossible trick, unless the victim and culprit agreed to cooperate beforehand.
I mean, I guess if anyone was going to...
Cooperated? Is that even possible?
It sounds bizarre, but perhaps that was the whole point. Commit a crime that was so confusing, even Monokuma would be tricked.
But then if they're both dead, that doesn't explain the Exisals. Because, I mean, that only, like, would make sense if Monokuma knew what had happened and set up the whole situation so that...
Jeez, this culprit's a real jerk. So, have you realized who done it yet?
Which, granted, maybe he does know, and the whole idea of him not knowing was just an act. The culprit of the case. My detect work hasn't failed me. The culprit inside that Exisal can only be them. I mean, it can only be Kaito, but Kaito should be dead to poison.
The apparent victim we saw in the video was Kaito, which means...
And it's very not in character for Kaito.
Kokichi was operating the hydraulic press and camera at first. If the 2 of them switched while the press was stopped, then the culprit who started the hydraulic press again and crushed Kokichi.
Now, I mean, Kaito killing Kokichi so that he would become the Blackened for the class trial does make sense, but doing all the extra shit where people could have potentially died is not really in his character.
Must be Kaito. So, the person inside that Exisal isn't Kokichi. It has to be Kaito.
What did you say?
So the culprit for this case is... Kaito Momota. That is what the ultimate detective has deduced, right?
Yeah, sure.
Kaito is the culprit? What? You're joking, right? You can't be serious.
I don't want to believe it either, but it's the only way any of this makes sense. My detective work has led me to the conclusion that Kaito is the culprit.
Is that true? Is Kaito really in there?
Hey, answer us! If you really are Kaito, then...
I'm the culprit. There's just no way that Kaito can still be alive. Because I'm the culprit.
Wait, you? But didn't you say...
I saw it with my own eyes.
Like, unless Kokichi didn't drink all the antidote and left some and then gave it to Kaito so that Kaito didn't actually die from the poison, that's the only way he could ever be in the exit cell. But that still doesn't make sense for his character in the
Kokichi
slightest.
drank the antidote that he stole from Kaito. There's no doubt Kaito died. And he died because of my poison arrow.
But you told us you didn't want to kill Kaito.
Yes, I never wanted to. I wanted to believe that I didn't kill him. But the truth speaks differently. In the end, I was just running away from the facts.
Huh? I don't understand.
Maki, are you trying to protect Kaito? If he's the culprit, you're trying to help him get away.
There was only one antidote, so it's more likely he died from my poison arrow.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could have just been lying about, like, not being able to get the antidote to him as well, but...
This is the truth.
But it just doesn't seem like it's in Kaito's character to do any of this.
It's not decided yet. I could have still killed him with the hydraulic press. Either way, those are the two options. Monokuma knows the answer, right?
Huh? Are those the only options?
I guess that's how things turned out.
No, that can't be. The person in that exisal is...
It's not Kaito! I saw Kokichi drink the antidote! There's no mistake. Kaito is dead. I killed Kaito. There is absolutely no doubt. That's the truth.
Also, Maki is trying to protect Kaito. I understand how she feels, but if Kaito is the culprit, why did he agree to Kokichi's plan? I can't imagine that Kaito would do something so selfish. There must be a reason for it, I truly believe that. I have to get to the bottom of this before I can uncover that truth.
But Maki, you don't know for certain that Kokichi drank the antidote.
Think he mimed drinking the antidote? Or he
What?
didn't drink all of it? What are we going for here?
You saw him drink it right in front of you, but you couldn't confirm he actually did it.
Okay.
So maybe there's another possibility.
What are you talking about? Impossible. That's impossible. There is no other possibility. I killed Kaito!
Oh god. I got no HP, man.
I killed Kaito! You're the one who's wrong. He died from
Oh,
my
that's the
poison
wrong X,
arrow.
dude. That's the wrong X.
There's no other possibility.
Okay.
What do you know?
I thought we couldn't miss when we're in...
I killed Kaito! You're the one who's wrong. He died from my poison arrow.
Bro, I can't see anything. But you actually can very slightly see
no other
it.
possibility. What do you know?
That's the
I
wrong X,
killed
dude!
Kaito! You're the one who's wrong. He died from my poison arrow.
Bro, we're actually gonna die.
Doesn't matter what you say. I'm telling you, this is the truth. But you keep getting in the way. You're so goddamn annoying.
You're annoying!
It doesn't matter what
I know you
say.
are, but what am I?
I'm telling you, this is the truth.
You're rubber, I'm glue. Everything you say is,
I was
sticks
at the
on
scene.
you.
So I know I'm not wrong. I'm sorry I kept quiet till now. I wanted to believe I didn't
Okay, so
kill
you-
him. But I won't run away from the truth anymore.
Bro, I can't hit it fast
I know
enough.
what I saw. I was at the scene. So I know I'm not wrong. I'm sorry I kept quiet till now. I wanted to believe
Almost hit the wrong
kill
X.
him. But I won't run away from the truth anymore. Because I know what I saw. I was at the scene. So I know I'm not wrong. I'm sorry I kept quiet till now. I wanted to believe I
Lady,
didn't
just stop
kill
saying
him.
the same thing over and over again.
But I won't run away from
I don't know what to put.
I saw Kokichi drink the antidote.
Pretended to drink the antidote.
It ends here.
Fighting for my freaking life out here. Why does everyone take their goddamn clothes off?
Kokichi just pretended to drink the antidote. He didn't actually drink it.
He pretended to drink it?
Drinking the antidote was part of his lie. Maki could only see so much through the window. She didn't confirm Kokichi drank it.
Makes sense.
I believe that Kokichi knew this and just pretended to drink the antidote. After Maki left, he gave the antidote to Kaito. There's a strong possibility that all of this was done to make Kaito cooperate.
Make him cooperate?
The swapping trick required the victim and culprit to work together. Kaito's cooperation was essential to Kokichi's plan. However, I don't think Kokichi would be able to sway Kaito easily. He needed leverage. He gave Kaito the antidote in exchange for his cooperation.
Like, that mostly makes sense.
In exchange for his own life, you mean?
Kaito had no choice. He had to cooperate after Kokichi saved his life. That's just Kaito's character, and Kokichi knew that. He swallowed his pride with the antidote and agreed to participate in Kokichi's plan.
But didn't Kokichi make this plan? What good is it for him if he's dead?
I don't know, Kokichi's a fucking wild one, man.
I imagine this was all part of Kokichi's plan to confuse us. You wouldn't think that someone would plan their own murder.
Well, I mean, maybe if you played the previous game.
He went so far as to give up his life, just to create this mystery?
Only Kokichi could think of something so nefarious. Who else would agree to die just to execute their plan?
Crazy. Why would he go that far?
I bet Kokichi was determined to beat me at my own game, no matter what. But too bad! Shuichi figured out the truth!
Truth? Are you sure it's not delusion?
Delusion?
A delusion completely off the mark. To make you think that I died. But who cares what you guys think? This is between me and Monokuma. I don't give a crap if the extras in this game get it right or not.
Because, I mean, the thing about this whole thing is that it still doesn't make any sense why the hell Kaito wouldn't just be like, yeah, fucking, I murked Koichi.
Extras?
I'm fine with being an extra.
Huh? Why?
If we're just extras, then even if we get it wrong, we won't get killed.
No, I'd still kill you all. Don't put Kokichi's words in my mouth.
Yeah, I mean, being an extra makes you more likely to die.
But why? You are being so friendly with us.
If Monokuma gets it right, then he takes everyone's lives, yeah? But if Monokuma gets it wrong, then he'd have no right to take everyone's lives. If Monokuma doesn't know who the culprit is, then this killing game can't function anymore.
Can't function anymore?
Kaito, I believe in you.
Okay, I mean, I could see that being an answer for why he doesn't come out. But that would also require doubting Shuichi's ability to figure out the truth. If you're cooperating with this plan, you must have a reason. To determine that reason, I need to reveal the truth. Well, actually, no, wouldn't revealing the truth be bad? Because if we could definitively prove who the culprit is, then they have to die?
I still think Kaito is the culprit. Thinking of it that way makes all the pieces fit. I will show you the truth. The truth you can't deny.
Comic book? But, like, should we not expose the truth here? Bro, what the hell? How does this work again? Electro bomb? Okay, so electro bomb would be towards the back, right? After Mikey left, what weapon? This would be electro bomb, right? Let's just make sure it doesn't fit. How was Kokichi dragged along the ground? What evidence did the culprit leave in the bathroom? What's our other thing? An exisal inside the hangar. Okay, so electro bomb does go back here. Yeah, we don't have much HP, so even though these are usually pretty easy, we can only make like one mistake. Trail of blood. The only antidote. What did Kokichi take from the culprit? Who got hit? I mean, it should be this. Okay. Trail of blood. Who actually drank the antidote? Why was Kokichi dragged along the ground? What evidence did the culprit leave? Hit the exisal. So this should be trail. No, this should be trail of blood. Exisal should be back towards the start. Okay, drink the antidote. That would be, it was like over here. Who actually drank the antidote? Kokichi in the press. What evidence did the culprit leave in the bathroom? So Kokichi was in there last. Assembled the crossbow. That would be back here somewhere. The culprit in the press would be somewhere over here. Go ahead and... God, there's so many, dude. Okay, Kokichi's right arm. That's... You shot Kokichi's right arm. Because Maki shot him in the back. 3 arrows would be left in the bathroom. Why did they leave 3 arrows in the bathroom? That's kind of weird. Wait, what? Oh, flushed down the toilet. That would be, over here. Okay, the culprit's left arm is where Maki's second arrow went. Kokichi's back is where the first arrow went, and then finally Kokichi's clothes.
This is the truth of the case! Let's go over the trick that Kokichi and the culprit created together.
So I think we might go long just to, well, yeah, we'll try and at least get to, like, through voting and everything in this video. The actual, like, post-trial wrap-up at the end of the chapter we might save for next time, but I do need to pause for a second, and I will be right back. Alright, we're back. So what we'll probably do is we'll probably do the whole comic book section here, and then at the end, we'll end the video and actually finish the trial and chapter next time, just because it's probably going to take like another 40 minutes until we get to the end of the chapter, so...
Last night, Kibo saw Himiko from the window of his lab.
And I've already, like, the last few videos have been long as well, which really is more of an issue just because having slightly shorter videos is easier for me, because I've got no backlog on any videos at all, basically. Well, I've got a decent backlog on this series now, because I've recorded a few episodes today, but...
And heading to the exisal hangar.
All in all, I think I've got, like, 5 videos in a backlog across both this and Ys.
When she reached the hangar, she handed the case to someone through the bathroom window. That someone is the culprit of this case. Locked in the bathroom, the culprit had asked Himiko to bring them a certain weapon. A disassembled crossbow from Maki's lab. The culprit was going to use the crossbow to challenge Kokichi to a fight. Some time passed, and Maki made her way to the hangar. She was going to the hangar to kill Kokichi and save the culprit trapped in the bathroom. However, the hangar had an electric barrier preventing her from entering. Fortunately for her, she had an electro hammer to get around the barrier, in a way.
Man, she sure is lucky that it actually,
She used her electro hammer to disable an exisal and climbed inside.
that the exisal with the human inside doesn't make it go off, because that's not something that we knew until the trial.
She knew exisals could bypass the barrier, so she got inside one.
But, like, she didn't know the alarm wouldn't go off, so kind of odd.
Around that time, the culprit and Kokichi began their confrontation.
Bro, Kokichi is stone cold. Look at him.
While Kokichi was checking up on them, the culprit
Okay, he's a little bit more
ambushed him
worried in
with a
that shot.
crossbow. But the culprit didn't intend to kill Kokichi. They just wanted to disable him. That's why the culprit aimed for Kokichi's right arm. If they really wanted to kill him, they would have shot him in his vitals. Kokichi reeled from the arrow, and the culprit jumped on him immediately. He didn't want Kokichi to have the chance to summon an exisal with a remote. While they were fighting, something happened that caught them both off guard. The shutter of the hangar opened, and an exisal stepped inside. Kokichi was definitely not expecting an exisal to interrupt them. He pulled out his remote in an attempt to control the exisal. But Maki leaped out of the cockpit and shot Kokichi with her crossbow. The arrow hit Kokichi right in the back, and it was no normal arrow. The tip was covered in a lethal poison from my lab called Strike 9 poison. The poison kills slowly. It seems as if Maki wanted Kokichi to confess before he died. But even with poison in his veins, Kokichi continued to spin his lies.
Should have just shot him in the head, dude.
When she had had enough, Maki tried to finish him off with another poisoned arrow. But this time, Maki was the one caught by surprise. To keep Maki from becoming the Black Imp, the culprit used their body to shield Kokichi. The culprit's left arm was struck by a poison arrow. Maki remembered that there was an antidote in my lab and immediately ran off to get it. The Strike 9 poison slowly circulated through their systems and would soon kill them both. But in that desperate situation, Kokichi thought up a clever lie. He incorporated this unforeseen event into his plan to help him win the killing game. Or should I say, help him defeat Monokuma. That was Kokichi's true objective. It's why he claimed to be the mastermind. Thinking fast, Kokichi closed the shutter so that Maki could not re-enter the hangar. Thus, Kokichi's final lie was set into motion. When Maki returned with the antidote, she couldn't get back inside the hangar.
And that's a good explanation for why Kaito didn't, like, try and fight more for the antidote. Because, I mean, yes, he was poisoned, but Kokichi should have been still weaker, because A, he's got 2 arrows in him, and he was poisoned earlier.
So she went around to the hangar bathroom and passed the antidote through the window.
That was something that I thought was weird. I kind of just, like, accepted it as A, the plot needed it, and
Kokichi immediately snatched it.
B, Kaito is sick, right?
Kokichi drank down all of the antidote while the culprit and Maki watched in horror. Maki must have been panicking, thinking the only antidote was now gone. She believed that the culprit was going to die from her own poisoned arrow. But it was all another one of Kokichi's lies. He had only pretended to drink the antidote. Maki tried desperately to break into the hangar, even slashing the control panel. But she couldn't get the shutter to open again. Defeated, she had no choice but to leave. After Maki had left, Kokichi took out another weapon. An electrobomb, capable of disabling communication devices for hours.
Didn't they mess up the narration there? Because he's mentioned Maki trying to break into the control panel, but that would have happened after the electro bomb, right? Because the reason the alarm didn't go off when she was doing that was because the electro bomb had already gone off?
Kokichi's plan was to use an electrobomb to knock out Monokuma's surveillance cameras. That was why he commissioned Mew to make the bombs in the first place. After detonating an electrobomb, Kokichi coerced the culprit into drinking the antidote. In exchange for the antidote, Kokichi asked the culprit to cooperate with his plan. Kokichi needed to work with the culprit to execute his final lie. Under normal circumstances, the culprit would never have agreed to such a plan. But because the culprit owed him for saving their life, they agreed to Kokichi's request.
I mean, Kaito, you could have just been like, nah, dude. Granted, I guess if Kokichi died that way, Maki would still be the Blackened, so...
It was more like blackmail. In any case, the two were now working together as accomplices in an insane plan. There was a lot to prepare, and not a lot of time. They had to work fast. If Kokichi died from the Strychnine poison, the whole plan would be ruined. After fabricating the scene in the bathroom, the culprit dragged Kokichi to the hydraulic press. This is how the swipe pattern bloodstain from the bathroom to the press was created. Kokichi, with the support of the culprit, stood in front of the press's control panel. The two of them were finally ready to execute the insane lie. While Kokichi was setting up the video camera near the hydraulic press's control panel, the culprit laid face up inside the press, draping their coat over their shoulders. Then, Kokichi activated the press and the camera's record button at the same time. The hydraulic press came down
Man, that's a
slowly,
scary idea.
all caught on tape for us to see.
Being under the hydraulic
safety
press like that?
function would have triggered, but the electrobomb had disabled it. The press got lower and lower, and just as the culprit disappeared from view, Kokichi pressed the force stop button and the camera's pause button simultaneously. The two then switched places and also switched roles. The culprit and the victim. The would-be
Naked
victim
Kokichi
became
is
our
very
culprit
cursed.
and started up the press and camera. Kokichi had saved the culprit's life because his trick required their cooperation. He wanted to win the killing game, even if it meant dying himself. And so, Kokichi was crushed by the press, and the whole thing was caught on video. The culprit's left sleeve was dangling from the press, making us think he was the victim.
So my whole thing with all
Now
this still...
alone, the culprit collected the video
Like,
camera.
isn't it bad for us to actually learn what happened?
And tore the hydraulic press's power cord so that it could never be raised again. This would make it impossible for us to determine the identity of the crushed body. But there was another reason the victim was killed in this way. It obfuscated the cause of death. making the case that much more difficult to solve. This was all part of Kokichi's plan to create a murder not even Monokuma could figure out. With the press disabled, the culprit returned to the bathroom to flush Kokichi's clothes. Finally, they climbed inside of an exisal to hide and waited with bated breath. And here they are now in this trial, pretending to be Kokichi.
So I guess the exisal in the hangar that had the cockpit closed was supposed to have been Kaito the entire time?
They're trying to deceive Monokuma in order to defeat the true mastermind. And that's it. That's Kokichi's unidentified culprit trick.
Like, seriously, should we have never, like, said what actually happened? Because like, the whole point is that Monokuma wouldn't be able to execute anyone if he didn't know who killed.
Exisal. It's you,
like,
isn't it?
Who was the killer, but now that we've said it was Kaito, can't he just freely kill Kaito and not feel like he's breaking the rules?
Kaito Momota, the ultimate astronaut. I'm right, aren't I? That's you in there, isn't it, Kaito?
Really? Is it really Kaito?
I must reluctantly agree with Shuichi's deduction.
Man, Shuichi sure loves his crazy deductions.
Huh?
You're still not gonna admit it?
Admit it, but it's wrong.
But logically speaking, his deduction tracks.
If it's really Kaito in there, he would have admitted it by now.
Yeah?
Was Shuichi's reasoning wrong somehow?
And there is also the issue of, like, if it is just Kaito, how the hell is Kaito able to fake being Kokichi so well? Because, I mean, I really was for the longest time, and still somewhat, I was under the assumption that it's just like a computer recreation of Kokichi slash Kaito. No, my detective work was flawless. It's the truth. I'm sure that Kaito's inside that exisal. Why is Kaito still fighting me? Like, it's because, like, you don't really want to know who killed him. That's the whole point. Is this about Monokuma, or is there another aspect to this?
You claim everything is set, and that's it. You don't have any evidence, do you?
Because, like, Kokichi's plan, in a way, is actually good. It's... like, because I think the logic there is that, like, you can't have the killing game if the mastermind's not in control, so by taking that control away, he doesn't have the right to execute anyone without breaking his own rules? Or their own rules?
You all think the body was switched when the hydraulic press stopped for a moment. But that's just speculation in the end. No evidence to back it up.
That's also true.
So if we reverse our reverse way of thinking, then it's likely I didn't do anything, right? It's totally possible that the body switching never happened and Kaito is dead.
That's originally what I thought as well, was that the pause is just to give you hope.
Not just possible. It's the actual truth.
Well, it's true. There's no proof that the bodies were switched.
Also, we need to stop. We're going too long. Well, I want to be able to record at least one more video today, so we'll have to go ahead and stop now to get that done. Any second now. But yeah, alright, next time we will wrap up Chapter 5 and find out what the actual truth for really is this time. I'm Extra Cheesy 87. Stay tuned for the next part. And bye, guys.